So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre, the reviews and reviews. Back in here with one more video. Guys, you're already looking at the title of the video. You're looking at the thumbnail of the video. You already know what time it is. It is time to get active. Now, I'm a little bit late to this video. You guys have sent this to me on my Instagram, link down in the description box down below. An uncountable amount of times, and I appreciate that, but it was a particularly busy week for me. So I'm a little bit late to the party, but I must throw my 2 cents in. You understand me? Now, before we get into this discussion, I've said it on my channel time and time again. Do not just look at the 50% of couples that stay married until death do them part as examples. You have to look at the other 50%. It is weird to a degree that we live in a culture and a society that does a couple of things. Number one, it communicates to men that you need to build yourself up to accumulate the most amount of resources to be able to protect and properly provide for a woman. And then also says that you are not a man until you get married. Okay? So you take those 2 things together, you stir them up in a little pot, but if you get divorced, this is what can happen. And let me also say this as well, because there's a bunch of dudes on the channel that's just saying things like, I don't even care, if she's just working at McDonald's. This is what can happen. You can build yourself up to the best of your abilities, and someone can come along making little to no money and initiate a divorce and strip years out of your life that took you to build it up. We're going to go through this one, and I'm going to pause it at certain times just to provide some commentary on it as well, just to give you guys a double click into some of the things that he is saying. Without further ado.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect.
All right. Let me pause the track right here, because he's going to get into indirect cost. And guys, when I think of direct versus indirect, think of direct as it can be quantified. There's a direct number associated with what has been extracted out of you. The indirect, although I'd argue the indirect is probably worse. It's probably worse, the indirect stuff that he's getting ready to get into. So hold on for that part of the video. You understand what I'm saying? But the direct monetary goods, what was he talking about? His 401k, and I'm assuming, because he talked about half of everything else, I'm assuming his 401k was a little over $200,000, and she took half of that. That is scary, okay? Because we talk about on the channel, especially my financial literacy streams, we talk about the 8th wonder of the world being compound interest, and what compound interest can do on $200,000 is exponentially greater than what it can do on what it's at right now, which seems to be 50% of that. Also, too, she took equity out of the house along with all of the tangible goods. It sounds like 50% of the tangible goods within that house. She also took vehicles. I mean, she absolutely sucked him dry. Now, we're going to get into the kid component here in a quick second, but just think about this. Think about signing your name on that dotted line. You do everything in your power to work 50, 60, 70 hours per week to provide for your entire family for 10, 20, 30 years. Divorce happens. Judge doesn't care that you did all of this work to provide and to protect. Judge doesn't care. All the judge is doing is making sure that she lives relatively the same lifestyle that you created for her. Well, what did you get for all of that work besides a raw end of the deal? Guys, I look at situations like this, and for those of y'all that are convinced that you're going to get married, I have absolutely no idea why, if you're the breadwinner, why you are not signing a prenup. And there's actually some situations where you're not the breadwinner. I think a prenup would actually be beneficial to you as well, but that's for a complete different video. Why? Why? There's examples just like this that exists. Why? It makes absolutely no sense to me. And someone can pull some statistics of how often that she gets literally half, but that's not the point. I don't care if it's an outlier. Why put yourself to any degree of risk if you know that it can turn out like this? There's like a funny old yet shitty saying, something like, love and marriage, you have to be selfless. And here's the thing is that I think a component of what this red pill ideology focuses in on, outside of focusing on the nature of women, but it's also reconstructing or recalibrating how your mind thinks. Okay? You have to put yourself first in order to increase the likelihood of living out into the rest of your life as joyful and as happy as you ultimately can. It doesn't mean be selfish with everything within your life. All right? Build yourself up first and protect yourself, or this can be your reality. They don't care that you paid for the daughter's tuition. They don't care that you supported the wife, all right, throughout the marriage. They don't care. They will just take from you. And what are they taking from you really and truly? It's time. It's going to take you time to build all of that up. Maybe time that you don't even have left on this planet to ever get to the point before this happened. Because he said it right now that he's negative. He has a negative net worth, which he hasn't seen before besides his early 20s. All right. Incredible. Incredible. But it's important that we go through videos like this. It's important that we go through these videos because shout out to this brother right here. Crazy story, but without it, there wouldn't be the teaching. All right. So you being impacted like this and letting this information be known is very important because there'll be some handful, if more than a handful, is what my hope is, of other brothers that will learn from your mistakes. All right, let's get into the indirect costs.
Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
All right, as I told you guys before, I think the indirect costs is a lot worse. This guy has essentially lost his faith in humanity. He lost his spirituality. He lost his place of business. He says he lost his masculinity. As I look at him in his eyes, I feel nothing but pain for him. I look in his eyes and I see someone that has his soul completely removed from his body. He's a walking former shell of the person that he was previously. That's exactly when I look in his eyes. It looks like he's about to tear up as he's talking about the reality that he placed himself into because he did not protect himself. He did not hedge against the risk of divorce. So I ask you guys that are still going down this path to which you are still thinking about? If not planning it, what are you doing to protect yourselves? For those that still are like, the marriage, it don't make no sense. I understand. I completely understand. I just don't know, like in this modern day, how you can convince men to become the breadwinners and to sign up for marriage when they get this raw end of the deal if it doesn't end up correctly. And think about the incentivization. If that was me in his position and I lived the blue pill fantasy matrix lifestyle and then that happened to me, I would have tried everything in my power to keep her there because it's cheaper to keep her, as the old adage goes. But you're putting your money on the line by siding that. So if you have any doubt in your mind, why do it? You got to live the rest of your life with this person. If she turns out to be a terrorist, this is what can happen. This is what can happen. This is like a jail sentence. He's got to put himself back through essentially living like he was a 20-year-old because she took half of his ish. I feel for this brother, but yet again, I'm so happy that he talked about this in a very fluid way so we can learn from his particular situation. All right? Learn from this, guys. All right? Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Guys, feel free to hit me up. What do y'all think about this? Did I get it right? Did I leave anything out? Leave that down in the comment box down below. Continue to like, to comment, to share, because the more information that we can get in front of dudes' eyes, and all the 7.5 ladies that watch this, your brothers, right? Because you love your brothers, right? All right? Your nephews, all of that. You love the male family members in your life. You don't want to see them end up like this gentleman right here. You already know what to do. You understand what I'm saying? Guys, I got a Patreon as well. Link down to the description box down below. If you are interested in signing up for the inner circle to get closer to the community, to get closer to your boy. You understand what I'm saying? Until next time, YouTube. Peace.